Welcome to Vienna! I came here to meet my aunt and uncle who traveled all the way from Texas, a small family reunion wrapped in autumn light. If you're new here, I'm Amadeus and this is Le Demi Château, a quiet corner of the internet where I share life, renovation and the poetry found in the in-between. This week the chateau stands still while I wander through Vienna, a city of music, marble and memory. So come with me, let's begin with tea and the soft sound of a city waking up. Welcome to Vienna, you guys. So today is the first full day in Vienna and we're going to see Schloss Schönbrunn, the castle, where also Sissy lived. You'll also be seeing me alternating outfits because I took 4 t-shirts and 4 undies and everything, but only 2 pullovers and 2 pants because I really wanted to travel light. Welcome to Schloss Schönbrunn. Basically, at the end of the 17th century, Emperor Leopold I commissioned the Baroque architect Johann Bernhard Fischer von Erlach to design an imperial hunting lodge. And it was that was about to replace a Château de Plaisance that was here instead. And then later on, the Emperor Franz, Sissy's husband, was born here. And then just then, it was an all-year-round residence. Until then, it was just a summer residence. It's just really, really beautiful. And we're going to see the gardens first, and then we'll decide on where to go and what to do. Coming up here, I have quite a nice view over Vienna. So beautiful. The park at Schönbrunn Palace was opened to the public around 1779 and since then has provided a popular recreational amenity for the Viennese population, as well as being a focus of great cultural and historical interest for international visitors. It extends 1.2 kilometers from west to east and north to south about 1 kilometer. You see, it's a huge and vast park. It's just so incredible. So we have decided against going inside the palace because it's just so expensive. I just don't want to spend 40 euros to see the insides of this castle. I know that some people would pay that, but for me personally, it's just not worth 40 euros. So we're here at Belvedere Museum, which is unfortunately all covered, and it is very famous for its Gustav Klimt exhibition. So let's go see some Klimt. The Belvedere feels less like a palace and more like a dream someone refused to wake from. Built for a general who wanted beauty to prove his power, now it's filled with paintings that outlasted him. Gold and marble still shimmer, but what stays with you isn't grandeur, it's how fragile it all feels. Standing here, you realize that beauty and ego often share the same frame. Inside, Klimt's gold shimmers like sunlight caught in memory, beauty turned into worship. It's easy to forget that what we call timeless was once scandalous, daring, alive. Maybe that's what Vienna does best. It teaches you how rebellion becomes heritage. So we're coming up to the Hofburg, and the Hofburg was the winter residence, whereas Schönbrunn was the summer residence. And it goes as far back as the 13th century, and it was the seat of the Habsburg family? Would you say that? I would think so. And there you see, that's the big gates that lead up into the Hofburg. Can you imagine? Like, Sissi and Maria Theresia, Franz Josef, all these people passed through these gates. Absolutely crazy. The Hofburg isn't one building, it's a whole language of power. Corridors leading to ministries, to chapels, to the Prunksaal, the grand hall of the Austrian National Library. Inside, light filters through centuries of dust and devotion. Shelves rise like altars lined with books written to preserve someone's version of truth. You can feel both the arrogance and the awe of it, how knowledge can liberate and also confine. Just across the courtyard, the Spanische Hofreitschule keeps another rhythm alive. Hoofs instead of words, choreography instead of scripture. You can't film the horses during the training, and maybe that's right. Some traditions aren't meant to be captured, only felt. Echoes of discipline and grace passed from one generation to the next. So I just went out to get some stuff for breakfast, and I found this vegan tartlet. I can't wait to try it. It's chocolate, passion fruit. I feel like Marie Antoinette. Eating cake for breakfast. After a day of palaces, Vienna suddenly felt small again. The kind of small that fits in a coffee cup. I started wandering through its cafés, each one like a tiny museum. At Oberla and Gastner, the cakes look almost too perfect to eat, sculptures of sugar and pride. Even the famous schnitzel feels like a national ceremony, crisp and unapologetic. But Café Havelka was my favorite. Nothing polished, nothing posed, just the hum of conversation, old wood and that smell of coffee that hasn't changed in decades. I love how Vienna guards these rituals, not to impress, but to remember. Here, beauty isn't only built in stone, sometimes it's baked, brewed and shared. The more I walk through cities like this, the more I wonder what kind of beauty we choose to remember. We stand in front of palaces and cathedrals, and we call them glorious. But glory has always had a price. Every ceiling gilded, every ballroom polished, built on someone's silence, someone's labor. I live in an old house too. I love the craftsmanship, the weight of history. But I also know that these walls once belonged to a world that would never have welcomed someone like me. A queer artist, a woman with opinions. We wouldn't have been invited to the ball, only to the margins. Maybe that's why I admire this beauty differently now. You can honor the skill without worshipping the system. You can stand in awe and still remember who wasn't allowed inside. On my way here, I read a really interesting book and I finished it all on my journey here. And this one is called Silence. It was on my summer reading list. If you are following my newsletter, you would have got my full summer reading list. And I just wanted to read you a passage from this and just let it resonate with you. Silence is about rediscovering, through pausing, the things that bring us joy. My children hardly pause anymore. They are always accessible and almost always busy. It feels like trying to find your way through a fog on a mountain without a compass at hand and ending up walking around in circles. The goal is to be busy and effective, nothing else. This book is also a perfect book to just place somewhere and you can go wherever you want. The chapters are really short and you can just open up a chapter and read a chapter just to remind you what silence is. Some of the chapters are a bit like, but I think all in all, it's a really interesting book that gives you a lot of food for thought. I had bought this book here, which is called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. And this one's really interesting. I'm so into reading it right now. I've read half of it and I need to slow down because I need something to read on my way back. I don't want to buy a third book. If you're looking for a read that's interesting and a bit philosophical, but not very much. It is in between philosophy and entertainment. It's a really interesting take on life as well. This is part of my new autumn reading list, I guess. What you're seeing behind me right now, and I'm gonna put some pictures over it as well, is the Burgtheater. And it's also a very famous theater with paintings made by Gustav Klimt. We can't go to every show, but that actually gives me the perfect transition for you guys because we'll be going to Vienna State Opera to see the ballet tonight. All right, you guys, let's get ready to go to Vienna State Opera. I got our tickets. I am so excited to see it inside. It's been such a long time, actually. I haven't been. I've just been once, and that's when I auditioned for the school, for the ballet school, when I was 17. So that's been a very, very long time ago. Over 20 years now, 21 years. Alessandra Ferri, another ballet star, she just took over the company. So it's really exciting times here, I think, also for the company. This trip wasn't just about Vienna, it was about seeing it again, this time with my aunt and uncle, sharing old stories over new pastries, and realizing how much has changed. The last time I was here, I was 17, standing in front of the ballet school that didn't take me. Back then, it felt like a door closing. Now I see it differently. Every no just shapes the path to a more honest yes. Vienna reminded me of that. How life can be both beautiful and unsparing, grand and intimate all at once. I love visiting cities like this. But I couldn't live in one anymore. I need quiet, the kind you only find where the world slows down enough to hear yourself think. Maybe the best journeys don't change who we are. They just show us how far we've already come. Good morning on this last morning in Vienna. My train is leaving in an hour. I want to walk to the station. That was Vienna, you guys. It was fun and beautiful. And I hope you also had fun following me along on this little excursion. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next week. Until then, bisous and bye!